Hello, Thrivers. Good morning, beautiful souls, or good afternoon, or good evening. Hopefully it's not the middle of the night where you are. I know we truly have an international an international audience here. And so whatever time of day it is, my heart and my love go out to you this morning. I was praying, as I do every day, for the members of this group and the members of our audience, and you beautiful, brave souls that are working so diligently to improve your most sacred marriage relationships. I truly believe that God and the universe holds marriage as a sacred relationship, and that it is one of the most important relationships that we could ever have. And so without any kind of agenda, I just wanted to show up here today to be of service to you, and had the impression that, maybe there's someone out there that's really needing some solutions right now. Maybe there's someone that's been praying or pleading for guidance with their relationship, and maybe with some of the challenges that they're facing. And so if I can offer some insight and the things that Mark and I have learned here, being international marriage experts and having coached thousands of couples around the world, and really refining and improving our process constantly on how to have a thriving marriage, not just a marriage that needs to be saved, although we absolutely do that, but how to get to the next level of awesomeness, right? And so that is what we have dedicated our lives to, and I would love to be able to help you today. I can see Shelly joining me, Sarah, hey Sarah, good to see you, Tina, Lorena, I can't really quite read it, Ian, hey Ian, good to see you. And so please, I want to make this a discussion, and the more involvement I get from you over in the comments, then the better I'm able to actually give you solutions. Because as you know, I call marriage like a marriage thumbprint. It is so unique to you. You and your spouse, your husband or your wife, create a completely unique combination that's unlike anyone else in the world, right? And so it's really making sure that we're able to get you where you want to be going for your unique marriage thumbprint. I can see Derek, Denise, Lisa, thanks for joining. All right, so if you have a question for me, I will be answering some of them here live, and I may ask some questions to get some more information, some more clarity, and to dig a little bit deeper. That's what we do in our coaching, and that's how I can really help you best, because a very general question is going to give a very general response, which can be helpful for more people. But what I'm feeling is that some of you need some very specific guidance right now. We often try to give the overarching 30,000 foot view in our live trainings and in our master classes to be able to help give the most clarity, the most guidance to the most amount of people possible. And so that can tend to get a little general, and I won't want to do that today. I want to be more specific. All right, so Tina asks here, and I'm going to go to some of the questions I also got from Mary and Paul, especially if they join us live, because that's much more effective. So Tina, all right, we are in the middle of divorce, but he has started talking to me again. How do I change his story of me, and there is now another woman? Okay, so Tina, my first questions for you is, how long have you been in the process of divorce? You said you have started communication. He started talking to you again. So what does that communication look like? How often are you communicating? What is it like when you try to communicate? Is it really tense? Is it cold? Does it end in anger? Does it kind of escalate? Or is there more like ice on his part? Are you just talking about more the surface level things? What's going on there? And then a whole other layer to it is another woman. So how long has this other woman been in the picture? And what's going on with that? So give me a little bit more details if you can. I'm going to be watching the chat here. Okay, so since February for the process of divorce, and I'll just keep watching as your answers come in. So there's a lot to this, and this is why we always offer our free breakthrough call, and that's to determine what's going on in your relationship and going a little bit deeper into it and giving you clarity on what the very best next steps to take are. Because there's a lot to that. So let's see. Okay. I know, I bet you're typing fast. All right. So the communication every day since last week and is very pleasant, and we are able to talk about everything. Okay. So this is a really, really good sign. any kind of open communication, any kind of communication is actually a really healthy sign that there is possibility for the relationship to turn around, for the divorce to stop, for him to leave the other woman, right? And so we always look at 2 signs to know if a marriage can be saved or not. And it's not that they're willing to work on it. That's not it. That's what a lot of other coaches, a lot of other counselors, even pastors, your friends are going to say. Well, if they aren't willing to work on it, then there's nothing you can do. Or it's going to take 2 to tango. Or I need both of you in my office working on this in order for it to work out. And if they're not willing to come to me for counseling or for me for advice, then there's really not much you can do. Your hands are tied. And so the best is just to kind of move on. I know a lot of you have heard that. And we've proven time and time again that that's simply not true, okay? So the fact that communication is there is one of the signs that we look for. So 2 signs that it's most likely over, and really that what it really is that you have 0 communication. You're not talking at all. No texting, no phone conversations, no in-person conversations. Maybe you live on different sides of the world or different countries or different states or across the country from each other, whatever that might be. Or maybe there's like a restraining order that's like a barrier there that's definitely going to prevent you from being able to turn this around. So no communication. And the second, which this one's getting a little bit more and where you're at right now, Tina, is are they making future plans with someone else? And we're talking about this. This is serious future plans. So that's my next question for you, Tina. She has been involved for at least 2 months. Okay, so putting a timeline together, since February is the process of divorce. We're now in April, so what does that bring us? February? Oh my goodness, math. Yeah. So about the same time as the divorce is when she kind of came into the picture. As far as you know, I know you don't always have all of the understanding, especially when there is a betrayal of trust. But it's important that we kind of piece it together as much as we can. Hey, Mike, good to see you. Hey, Mary. And I did get your question, Mary. I'll get to it here in a little bit. All right. So the second sign that a marriage is most likely over is if they're making those future plans, and they're serious future plans, like buying a house together, having a baby together, getting married. Any of those things are very future, oh my goodness, are very future serious plans, are very serious future plans. I just started a cleanse today, so I hope that my brain can keep up with my body, or my body can keep up with my brain. Either way. All right. So Tina says, he also says he's always going to take care of me. And I asked him if we could slow down the divorce, but he just says no, but he is hesitant. Okay. These are really, really hopeful signs. So already, and I don't know if you've already gone through any of our other programs, if you're in Relationship Reboot or our Live Path course, about how we take you through the process of asking them to slow down and give you time. He says no, but he's also hesitant. It's that kind of teeter-totter effect. And there's reasons why he's doing that. And the biggest one generally is that they're not sure that they can be happy again in the marriage, because there's things that have happened up until this point that led to him wanting out, right? There's things that led to him wanting for divorce and for him involving another woman, right? So the reason why he's leaving more often than not, right, is that he thinks he's going to be happier somewhere else, or he's going to think it's better for you and the kids, or there's so many different reasons. So what are some of the reasons that he's giving why he wants to leave? Okay. The fact that he says he's always going to take care of you is really a huge sign of care, and a huge sign of compassion and consideration. So again, I would say that there is a lot of hope from what I'm seeing, just from the brief amount that I'm getting here, right? So it's more like something that we really have to dig in deep and go really, really into, what are the root issues? What led up to him wanting out? What led up to this other woman becoming involved? What happened on your part with you and your mindset, and maybe what was going on that led up to this whole thing, right? So I'm just going to give an example because this reminds me of Leah, and a lot of you know Leah. Okay, so so many comments coming in. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked. I'll come back to Leah. I want to catch up on your comments just to make sure I'm giving you the most applicable guidance here possible. He lives with her, but he will not talk about her, I think is what you said. He said no to all of that, no future plans. He just says he wants to find himself. Okay, again, another very hopeful sign. So again, a lot of people are going to say that this can't be saved. He's with someone else. He wants out. He says no, he doesn't want to stop the divorce or slow down the process. And so that must be it. You're done. 100% wrong. All right. Having gone through this many times with so many couples, I can tell you right here that he's on the teeter-totter effect. He sees that he cares a lot for you. He's not making future plans. He wants to find himself. So right there is an opportunity for you to show understanding, which is always our very first step, Tina. And it's without having any expectations or any judgment. It's just removing that from the picture. Okay, I'm going back to Leah now, because her husband was leaving her for another woman, and he was actually making future plans with her. He was going to completely leave Leah and their son, but they were expecting their very first child at the time, and he was completely out and he wanted to go be with her. And so, in her own words, she had to remove that expectation and make, I'm paraphrasing, not directly quoting because I don't have the direct quote in front of me, but I know what she went through. And I know what many of our other clients, that some of them prefer to be anonymous, which is totally okay. We absolutely protect client privacy always. And that this is the first step, right? Is removing the pressure. It's removing the expectation, and it's coming to have understanding and compassion. And that's what Leah did. And that kind of backing off is what allowed him to start to step toward her. And you're actually further along in the game than she was when she first started working with us. When she first started working with us, he was completely done. There was no he's like, no, I'm in love with this other woman. I'm going to go be with her, right? There wasn't this idea of, no, I just need to find myself. So I'm trying to bring this full circle. So understanding when he says that he wants to find himself. What do you mean, husband, right? I don't know his name, but what do you mean? What does that look like for you? What do you feel like you've been missing? How is it going to feel when you find yourself? When you find yourself, what is that going to look like? What is it going to smell like? I know it might sound weird, but maybe there's different senses that we can bring in to get further clarity. And he may not even know. Right? And so asking these questions of him is going to pattern interrupt, and it's going to cause him to really reflect and think about what it is that he's really going for. And he's going to be like, wow, Tina is really listening and she's really understanding. And just coming from that place of, I care about you, and no matter what happens, whether we work this out, you don't even say that, but no matter what happens, in the future, I want to be able to support you and to understand you. And even if it's like Dwayne said in his interview last week of saying I just want to be a good co-parent with you. Can we work together as a team on that? Because no matter what, either direction, right, we're going to need a co-parent. And so let's start there. And that takes the pressure off of, you need to leave the other woman, you need to come back, you need to stop or slow down to the divorce. It's removing all of that pressure and just coming to pure heart to heart understanding. And he will sense that. There is an energetic shift that happens. This is where it gets really, really beautiful and where you find your peace and your empowerment. There's an energetic shift that happens when we go from desperation, from pleading, from fear, from pain, from the hurt that he's with this other woman, that he's betrayed our vows, right? He's whatever's going on there, all of that pain and the fixation on those things, to shifting to, I'm okay and I'm going to be okay no matter what happens. And I care about this person and I want to understand them for no other reason that they are important to me. And I want to gain that clarity, and I want to be able to make some positive changes myself so that I can be a better person at the end of the day, and so that I can live my life with no regrets. And beyond being insanely effective for the relationship, what happens is you get to a state of calmness, of peace, of serenity, of strength. And you shift out of the desperation and the fear mode into a mode of just, I call it centeredness. It's like you're connected to who you really are, and no one can take that away. And no circumstance can dictate what that looks like for you. And regardless of what happens in the relationship, you are safe and you are whole and you are healing and you are on a journey of understanding who you really are and allowing the true you to come forth and to shine before the world and to shine before your children. And at the end of the day, to really become who you want to be. And so it's insanely effective for your marriage, because what happens when you make that shift, truly make that shift, we're not just talking about doing it to get them back or doing it to get a certain result. No, it's really about coming to know who you really are and living from that state. That's what it's 100% all about. And the beautiful thing is that then he will sense that shift. And he will be naturally drawn and attracted to you, because that is a beautiful soul. And that is someone that we can feel secure around. We can allow ourselves to be more comfortable around that kind of a person, rather than in a state of fear, desperation, pleading, manipulation, right? I'm not saying you're doing any of those, but just giving the general examples that we see. It's so easy to get into that fight, flight, or freeze response because we're scared and because we're in pain. And he will sense the shift in you, that you're not coming from that place anymore. If you have been, and like I said, almost, I'd say probably 99.9% of the time I've seen most people are in that place when they start working on this with us, and they're kind of in the similar situation. And so it's okay. It's really normal. It's really natural. And we can say, I am where I am, but I want to get to a better place. I want to remove those stories from myself. I want to understand who I really am. And I want to be able to have strength so that regardless of what happens, I'm in a good place and I love myself unconditionally, and I love life, and I see it for what it is, and it's beautiful, and I'm a creator of my life. Okay, so I'm gonna go back over here to this. Yeah, okay, so I want to make sure I'm staying with you. I hope this makes sense. I hope this is resonating, and if this is helping you with where your situation is at, then all the better. Let me know. All right, so Tina says, he said that he doesn't trust my change yet. Awesome. So you're making positive changes. That is fabulous. And I know that this is so much work. I understand it's so much work when you're starting off all on your own. But it's really about understanding that if you want this to work, and if the core of who you are, that quieter, like really still part of yourself says, yes, this is what I want. And you can learn to listen to that and to live from that. That's when you find your absolute power and you find the strength, and it shifts the entire journey to one of actual, this can be the very best thing that's ever happened to me in my life. And I have grown so much from it. I always bless my challenges. I bless my adversities. I bless the things that knock me flat on my back and make me feel like I can't breathe or even take one more step, because those are the moments that I grow. Because when we get out of our comfort zone, that's when we grow and we become a bigger, better, more expanded, stronger, beautiful version of ourselves. And so while this journey can be incredibly challenging, and I understand that, you can shift from a place of exhaustion to a place of empowerment, and to a place of that evolution of going from a caterpillar. I know this is so cliche, but it truly is. That caterpillar was a very small, weak, maybe more like an insignificant creature. And it goes through that metamorphosis through pressure and through change and through challenge to grow its incredible, beautiful wings so it can fly. So if you can reframe kind of the challenges that you're going through right now, then you can see them as an incredible opportunity to transform, to evolve, and to grow. All right, I've got comments from Mary and Billy Ann. All right, Tina. Yes, I have said he is riding the fence. He asked about me and is even jealous of a friend I have, but we are just friends. Always asks if I'm with him. Okay, so right there again is another indication that his heart is still very much with you. Otherwise, he wouldn't care. If he's to the point of past feeling, he wouldn't care if, maybe you were involved with someone else. Oh, so many Kristen, hi. All right, Tina, April. I saw your wins. Good job, April. I am watching. Awesome. Okay, that's where we're at. Calm and okay, Tina. Awesome. And that, I believe, is why he's talking again, because I just listened to him now. See? Okay, beautiful. See, you're getting this. And that's awesome, because we talk about lead indicators versus lag indicators. There's things that we need to do now that are the lead things, and the results will come later. And that's kind of the frustrating part as a human, because we want instant results. But it's about that law of what we call gestation. This is hilarious. I was talking about this with my husband, the law of gestation. And he's like, does that mean you poop more? And I was like, no, not digestion. Gestation. Gestation, like you're gestating a baby, or right now it's spring. You know, many of us may be planting our gardens, or waiting for the tulips to come up, right? We're waiting for the leaves to bud on the trees and for the world to turn green again. It's a law of gestation, that the things that we put into motion take time to manifest in their fullest expression. And so it's having the patience with the law of gestation, not digestion. All right, so you're doing those things, and now the results are starting to show up. And Tina says, I was in the pleading mode months ago. Right, and so you realize how ineffective that is, and that it only pushes them further away, and it only keeps you in a state of tension and anxiety and fatigue, right? So you knew that that wasn't the way to do it, and that's wonderful that you are doing. Okay, I feel like I'm way behind you. I don't know how to give up on men, and he's such a great man that I control too much. Okay, so there we go. So the controlling too much, we can go into that and uncover, you know, where that came from. Maybe there was a limiting belief, a fear that he was going to leave you, or a fear that you weren't good enough, or a fear that if I don't control things, I'm not safe. There's so many things that could have been going on there, and I can tell from what you've been saying so far that you've made a lot of shifts. However, some of those limiting beliefs can be very, very deep and can subconsciously sabotage us. And we might make some external changes, some positive changes like you've been doing. But until we make those really internal shifts, then they're more surface level. And so it's really about uncovering what caused that to show up in the very first place, so that you can go on your own journey of releasing that story and releasing that need to control things, to feel safe with him, or to try to feel safe with yourself or safe with the circumstance, to a place where you're actually safe no matter what happens. And that you've released that need to control, and you find that true inner peace and that true inner strength. Okay, so you mentioned that he is seeing the positive changes, but he's not sure if they're going to last. And so you said I mothered him. Okay, yeah, again, another kind of example with that. So going deep into those kind of root issues that caused this division to happen is really crucial, so that we can bring it back together in the right way, in a way that has a lasting, strong foundation. Never put a Band-Aid on a cancer tumor, right? We always want to go in and uncover what happened so that true healing can occur. So when you mentioned that you've made these positive changes and he isn't sure if they're for the right reasons or they're not going to last, I don't remember the exact word, and I don't even want to try to go through the chat to find it because there's so much going on here. And so that's really normal. And you know, what Mark and I uncovered was something almost no one else is talking about. We always hear that we need to make positive changes. We need to work on ourselves, right? We need to do these things that are in our control. However, we've learned that making the positive changes isn't enough. And it's very common at this stage when he's kind of, you know, maybe a little bit in, a little bit out. He's worried about you being with someone else. He's not really thinking he's going to be with this other woman long term. He's trying to find himself. There's a lot of confusion and conflict going on within him. And it's very natural and common for the spouse that's pulling away at this stage that you're in right now, Tina, that they doubt if these positive changes are real. They doubt if they're going to last. They doubt if it's just a manipulation trying to get them back. And my really, 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 really good friend is going through this right now. I'm not going to mention her name because I don't do that, but she's in this state where she's doubting if her husband's positive changes are going to last. And she's afraid that if she stops the divorce and comes back, that he's going to go back to the things that were painful before, and the things that were challenging for them, and the things that weren't working out. And so this is where we start to tell a new story. So we talked about understanding, and I think that you're building that really, really, oh my God, it's really, really, sorry. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. All right. I can tell that you're really showing understanding, and that you are opening up that conversation, and that has led you to get to this place of open communication now, which is awesome. That is a huge milestone. I know that so many here are struggling with this exact part right here, is how do I even open up the communication? So Tina, she's doing it. She's getting it. She's uncovered that it's not the fear, it's not the desperation, it's not the pleading. Those things don't work. And she's understanding how to apply our very first milestone, our very first step in our path method, which is perspective. It's understanding and opening communication, right? Then she's made adjustments, which is making those changes. And then third is now tell a new story. So how do we have him see that these changes are going to last, that they're going to be good for the long term? Okay, I'm checking up here on the comments. All right, cool. Hey, Yolanda, good to see you. I've seen you over in the path and everything. Awesome to see you here. Sherry, Tim, good to see you too. Holly, Alex. All right, so in the tell a new story, this is where we have consistency in those positive experiences, consistency in the changes, and we open up and increase understanding even more while still keeping the pressure off. And that's it in a nutshell. And what it looks like in reality is that we have to go in deep with you and see what kind of conversations are happening, what maybe healthy boundaries might need to be put in place at this point. How do we actually, this is an interesting thing, a really interesting one at this stage. Okay, and I want everyone that's here to understand that this is applicable to Tina right now. I wanted to give very specific guidance to situations. And so please don't take this generally. Please don't say, Heather said go do this, and so I'm going to go do it right now, because your relationship may be very far from this state, or it may be much further along, you know, and so it just might not apply. So always, when I'm giving very specific guidance, understand this is the overarching path, but that this stage that she's in right now is for her. Okay, does that make sense? So please understand that there is a right time to solve every problem, and that we need to solve problems in order, like an order of steps. We cannot solve them out of order. You cannot ask for him to stop a divorce before you have communication open. You cannot ask him to slow down or stop a divorce before there's understanding, right? There is a time and a specific step to every single aspect of this. So in your situation right now, Tina, and I'm going to give a generality, but it's really, really common. Oh my goodness, there's the really, really again. I need to stop saying that. That there is an opportunity with the kind of the energy shift, that it's almost like dating again. And especially since he's showing some signs of jealousy about maybe another person, another man in your life, who you know is a friend, but there's that element going on. And there's the idea of, I just need to find myself, and I don't really want to be with this other person long term, right? And I'm going to take care of you, but I'm not going to stop the divorce, right? All of these different things. And this may be a little bit oversimplified way of looking at it, but I think it's something that we can relate to, and that's important to come to a place of understanding so that we can apply it to what we're doing. So when we're dating, think about the energy of when you're very first dating. When you're very first dating, isn't there a little bit of that cat and mouse, a little bit of the chase and catch, right? And especially the females tend to put on the chase, right? And the men are in the hunt mode. I'm making a generality there. I know it doesn't apply across the board. And then maybe we try to chase them a little bit. And there's this whole dynamic that goes on. And it feels, the energy of it feels like kind of like this tug and pull back and forth, right? It's a bit of a game. And at that stage, it's really fun. It's one of the more exhilarating parts of the relationship. It's the infatuation stage when my 3 layers of love, 3 levels of love. I've talked about that before. So this is the infatuation stage, right? And there's that idea of oh, maybe I'm going to be with someone else. And then they chase us even more. And that feels kind of fun. And then we kind of play these different games, right? And so at this stage, it's really interesting because it becomes a little bit similar in the fact that, so he's pulling away and we've been chasing them, right? We've been wanting them to come back at first, the pleading, the desperation, that kind of energy. And what did that do? It pushed him even further away. Let me make sure I'm in front of my camera. So that pushed him further away. Hello, hands. Okay, so here we are, they're further away. Anyway, I don't know if I can do that, but, and so they're pulling further away. And then there's the idea of, oh, maybe she's involved with someone else. And that then he realizes, oh, I don't actually want that to happen. I don't really want to lose her. I'm a little bit jealous. And so he kind of comes this way. And so there's ways that we can identify what's going on specific for you in your marriage that we can use that not as a manipulation at all. I'm not saying it's manipulation at all, but it's an interesting energy to observe that then I can actually pull back, and I can pull back instead of being up here in the chasing mode. I can actually kind of retreat or pull back, and I can kind of, I don't want to say disengage, but I can create some energy of I'm actually pulling back a little bit. I'm going to take a step back for me. I'm going to kind of pull away from this for a little while. And then what happens is they come because they sense that shift in your intention and what you're doing. And they kind of wake up. The energy changes, like there's this bit of a shift there. Anyway, so again, this is applicable for Tina and what she's going through and what we more often see at this specific stage that she's in. And so that's what we can help guide you on. And as you kind of do that and you show the consistent changes for me with no agenda, no expectation, no, I'm doing this to get you back, then given the time, this is where we need to buy the time. This is the stage where you need to do this, and we'll guide you on how to do that, where you can have that conversation and then have the time needed, because it's not just going to, you mentioned that you've been talking for a week, right? That the open communication has happened for a week. And so that's awesome. And we're going to celebrate that, high thrive, but there's going to be more time needed. That law of gestation needs to come into play here. And it's going to be a process. It's going to be a journey. It isn't going to happen in a matter of a few weeks. It's going to be a matter of more like months. And we've seen time and time again that if we slow down the process of divorce and have 6 months of time, that's when that story is able to be changed and adjusted. So you have all of the right signs that we're looking for. And I'm really, really grateful that you came on and shared what you're going through right now. And because this is such a good example and a good, experience for us all to relate to understand the whole process. So I really, really appreciate you sharing that. So Tina says that makes sense because he will text me first if I ignore him for a while. Right. So you kind of pull away and then he steps toward you. It's exactly what it is. And so that whole, 6 months of time is a generality, but it's, what we've seen time and time again, that's about what it takes. And that in time is where you really learn to refine your skills, your communication skills, your understanding skills, working on your internal story, releasing expectation, releasing pressure, diving deeper into what you've already built as far as understanding goes, learning how to set the right healthy boundaries at the right time, which will create safety and security for you both. And as you build upon those, like brick by brick by brick, that's how you build up the strong foundation. And that's what it looks like. Okay, so if you have any other questions, I'd love to follow up about that. Okay. All right, Tina, I will make sure that you get that. I will put Emmanuel on this right away. He's our tech guy. So I don't know when you joined, but the life path is exactly what this is designed to do, is to show you how to have them agree to slow down or stop the process of divorce and how to use the teeter-totter effect to your advantage. Not manipulation. I know advantage might sound like a manipulation type word, but it's really, like I said, doing this without the expectation, saying, I'm going to make these positive changes. I'm going to learn how to have a beautiful relationship that's like flow, like it's like water. It's like it just moves and it goes through the obstacles and challenges of life together. Not that there aren't things that we need to work through, because there will be. And it's like we almost embrace those and allow them to be. And I need to learn those skills now, because I recognize that the way I was doing it before wasn't serving me. It wasn't serving my marriage. It wasn't serving my children. And it wasn't serving the bigger picture. And so I'm ready to learn and grow for myself. And then when you put those lead indicators into effect, the very best lag indicators will come. And I'm going to be really honest. That may look like having a marriage and relationship with him. I know that's your heart's desire, but it may not. And either way, it's at the end of the day, knowing that you did what you needed to do to become the best version of you. Really good. Yes, Leanne. YouTube, CC. Yep, absolutely. We got you back. Okay, so I'm going to kind of wrap that one up. Let's see. I went way longer than I thought I would, but I hope that this was helpful for you. I did want to check in with Mary on changing his mindset. So that applies what Sabine said, changing mindset and communication. So I'm actually going to do a live stream on opening communication, because I know that was your very biggest topic for many of you. It was, I did the poll, and that was the number one thing that you guys are asking for. Tina's already she's already got there. She's got well on her way with that, and she needs to continue doing it. And I'm fully confident from this chat that we've had today that you're going to do it, and you're going to get there, and it's going to be amazing for you. And so a lot of you are still like, well, I still don't know how to do that, right? So I will be doing a live stream next Wednesday on how to open communication, and going specifically into some of the questions to ask, and kind of the proven conversation starters that we have, as well as making that energetic shift that needs to happen for anything to happen in the way that you want it to happen. Okay? I hope that makes sense. So Tina, thank you again. And everyone else, Yolanda, Holly, oh my goodness, so many people. I really appreciate you reaching out. I will do my very best to follow up on your questions here. Holly with setting boundaries. Exactly. Shelly, very good. So tell a new story. Exactly. Tim, thoughts of the fair out of my head. Yes, exactly. There is a huge thing that needs to happen there on the healing and the recovery side. Denise, you got it. You got it. Absolutely. So I appreciate you all. And as always, if you want help with this, with guidance on how to do any of these things, that's what we're here. And that's what Mark and I have dedicated our lives to doing. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Tina, and everyone else for joining. We will talk again.